The following program is to provide entertainment and information. It is not considered to be any legal or investment advice. Good morning, appraisers. Let's talk some real estate. You're listening to the Voice of Appraisal, the #1 appraisal podcast in all of America that always brings you the latest news and information from the front lines of the real estate market. Anything from market conditions, appraisal regulations, cryptocurrencies, big bank news. Folks, you have a question, we have all of your answers. We are the one-stop source for all of your real estate appraisal information needs. If you want to be in the know, you have definitely tuned in to the right show. I'm your host, Phil Crawford. Happy to have all of you here with us today. Kevin, what is going on?
I have no clue. I was going to ask you, what is Fannie doing?
Fannie Mae is crushing our new product line, Kevin. They are crushing it. We had this awesome new product line. It was hashtag I love appraisal waivers. We had hashtag I love appraisal waivers t-shirts and hashtag I love appraisal coffee mugs and hashtag I love appraisal waivers beach towels. But now, all of a sudden, on March 1st, 2023, Fannie Mae just tried to all of that up, Kevin. You know what they did? They came out with a new selling guide, and they have created what is called value acceptance, Kevin. Value acceptance. They will not be calling appraisal waivers anymore. They will now be calling them value acceptance.
What happened to pissing in the wind?
That's actually a very good point. Remember, it was PIWs first, pissing in the wind, then it became the appraisal waivers,
right,
and then it became now value acceptance. And, you know, we were having such a great time with I love appraisal waivers. I mean, that was a phenomenal product line. But I've got a new one, Kevin. I've got a new one, okay? Let's go with hashtag I embrace value acceptance. How about that, Kevin? Embrace. I embrace value acceptance. The new product line we're going to have on the Voice of Appraisal podcast, hashtag I embrace value acceptance. By the way, if you notice on the value acceptance in the selling guide announcement, and this is what just cracks me up about Fannie Mae, because we're going to make some money on this. I mean, we're going to sell a lot of t-shirts. It's amazing because value acceptance, value is a capital V, acceptance is a little A. They didn't even trademark it. I mean, they didn't even trademark the terminology value acceptance. So Fannie, if you want to shut down the Voice of Appraisal, hashtag I embrace value acceptance product line, I would highly recommend you go out and trademark value acceptance. It's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing, Kevin. You know, I have been doing this now for 24 years, right? 24 years as an appraiser. I've been doing the Voice of Appraisal podcast. This is our 9th year. We've done it for 8 years total. And it just amazes me how banking karma is so predominant in the universe today. I am humbled by banking karma. Now, everybody has heard me say that. Everybody's heard me say that terminology, banking karma. What is banking karma? Well, let me explain what it is. Typical karma is you're driving down the street, you don't like somebody, you flick them off, next thing you know, you get into like a little bit of a fender bender. That is typical karma. Banking karma is you flick somebody off, and whatever is going to happen to you in the universe, it happens times 10, times 20. Like, it's a big deal. And do you know why it's a big deal? Do you know why it's really important to be a banker? And it's especially important to be responsible when you're a banker. And don't take this the wrong way. Okay, don't take it the wrong way. I'm just saying, because you're the only profession in the history of man that ever pissed off Jesus Christ. Okay, that's about it. He didn't mind tax collectors. He didn't mind hookers, but he did mind the bankers in the temple. You don't get the Prince of Peace fashioning a whip and going to town on you, so you better be careful when it comes to this. And if you take a look at this, on March 1st, Fannie Mae comes out with I embrace value acceptance, and literally 10 days later, we have a bank failure. A massive bank failure. And then we have a second bank failure, another run on these banks. It is all about banking karma. It's all about the universe. If you try to get rid of the real estate appraiser, the universe doesn't like you. The universe likes us. If you hug an appraiser today, good things will come your way. And it is just amazing. In the 23 years I've been doing this job, how I can see banking karma taking place every single time. Every time they try to get rid of the appraiser in the equation of mortgage underwriting, these things happen. So it is called value acceptance, which basically means that Fannie Mae will not be using the appraisal as the go-to product or the go-to option to value real estate inside the mothership. From this point on, the evaluations will take place from the mothership of the Great Big Fannie.
My question is,
Yes.
they say value acceptance.
Yes.
Who's accepting it? We're not.
Oh, but the world will accept it, Kevin. Everybody's going to love. No, everybody's going to love
that's
value
right.
acceptance.
We got to embrace.
Embrace. You must embrace value acceptance. So this got Hamp Thomas, okay? Now, I like Hamp. Hamp's a nice guy. This got him fired up last week. He went on to his YouTube channel and just started going off about, appraisers, we got to get out there and we got to stop this and we got to do this, we got to do that. And he was on this big rampage about it.
Right.
And he kept on saying, like, we need a voice. We need a voice. We need a... What the hell you think I've been doing for the last 8 years, Hamp? 8 years we've been out there providing a voice. Look at all the podcasts that we did. Phil welcomes the 5,000 appraisers. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Talked about exactly what's going to happen right now when it comes to Fannie Mae's value acceptance. Do you remember back in 2015, I took on the National Appraisal Conference, the big 5-on-1 showdown at the Appraisal Summit? That's what made me. That was the interview that made me. Because remember in 2014, people were trying to figure out, okay, is Phil Crawford full of or is he for real or whatever? And then I go up there and start pounding Jordan Pekoski and Tony Pastelli. It was a great debate. I mean, we had a good time doing it. But everything that you're seeing right now was taking place back in 2015. This whole circumstance that we're in right now basically started years and years and years ago, literally 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And we've been covering it on the show for literally 8 years. And Hamp is out there going, well, we need a voice. What do you think Kevin, Kenny, and I do? Yeah.
So basically, for 8 years,
yes,
we've been telling you guys, you got to pay
this day's
attention
coming
because the it's about to hit the fan.
It's coming, right?
And it's hitting it now.
And it's really actually unfair because there's been a lot of appraisers out there that have been like, well, you got to change your business. You got to go non-lender. Okay, first of all, I do a lot of non-lender work, but that's literally 20 years of business development. It's taken me that long to build that type of business up. And when you look at the appraisal profession, what happened in 2020 at Data Point Zero? Well, from Data Point Zero, which is March 5th, 2020 to 2023, January, we were in the biggest refinance frenzy boom in American history. So there really wasn't the time for appraisers to start to business develop in other different ways. So you got this perfect storm. You got this massive bloodbath in the mortgage world. You got things slowing down substantially. Fannie Mae is saying, we don't want you anymore. Forget you guys. We're going to value from the mothership. And now you're sitting there left going, okay, I got to figure out a way to build my business. So that's kind of where we are. And the one thing I want to point out, and now I'm going to get in some really big trouble now. Now I'm going to get into I'm going to piss some people off. And by the way, I don't want to hear from you, and I don't want your emails. I don't want to hear your BS, because in about 2 hours from now, about 2 or 3 hours, so we're releasing a show on Thursday morning, which is March 16th. In about 3 or 4 hours, there's going to be an appraisal report webinar from Appraiser e-Learning. Now, that's Brian Reynolds, right? No, hold on. No, don't, why you got to do that? Why you got to be projecting like that? Don't project like that, okay? So Brian Reynolds is going to have this appraisal report webinar, and on it, he's going to have Hamp Thomas, who went ballistic on his YouTube channel last week, and they're going to have Lyle Radke. Now, Lyle is the chief appraiser and geologist from Fannie Mae, which is good because there's a big earthquake going on over there at Fannie Mae, and I'm glad that there's a geologist on staff to handle that seismic activity. But he's going to be on here basically to damage control this entire situation because the appraisers are just livid about all of this going on here. So if anybody that is listening to the show this morning wants to get on to the appraisal report webinar and listen to what they have to say about the appraiser's role going forward. But, so after they come out with this announcement of value acceptance, then they also stated that there's going to be 6 mega firms, 6 major firms, 6 major appraisal firms in the country that will handle most of the valuation products for Fannie Mae. So there's going to be valuing from the mothership, where they're going to value, property from data collectors and things like this. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why Hamp is bitching so much, because Hamp has the class on how to train people on ANSI measurements and things like that. So if you're going to bring on like 10,000 data collectors, which, by the way, the data collectors, they're realtors. Okay, the National Association of Realtors knows that they're not going to have enough work for these realtors for the next 4, 5, 10 years, right? not until the
Right.
baby boomers start dying and we start getting some inventory out there. So the bottom line is they're going to put them in a position to start collecting this data. So the big six, the new big six major appraisal firms throughout the country are going to be Solidify, Class Valuation, Clear Capital, which, by the way, cleared off a hell of a lot of human capital the other day. Did you see how many people they laid off? They laid off a ton of people. Mueller Reports. Is it Mueller or Mueller Reports? I forgot what it is.
Mueller. I think.
Jordan Pekoski is over at Mueller Reports. Accurate Appraisal Group and Black Knights Collateral Analytics, LLC. Those will be the six major appraisal firms that will handle Fannie Mae's value acceptance issues that they have at the mothership there in Dallas. So the issue is there's a lot of appraisers out there, especially since Hamp went off on his tangent, that are upset about this third-party inspector model, and Hamp's out there saying, listen, you know what? You don't need to sign your signature to this. You don't need to sign your name to it. You don't need to do that as an appraiser and blah, 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 and all this stuff. What needs to be said and what must be said is that you have to understand that the appraisal profession has been under attack for a very long time, and Fannie Mae, quite honestly, my dear friends, doesn't want your signature anymore. They do not want your signature. It is the Ben Affleck scene in the movie Boiler Room. Remember when Ben Affleck walks in and he's talking to the new brokers and he says, who here has got a Series 7, license? And then one guy raises his hands. I got a Series 7. He says, good, get the hell out. Get the hell out, Schleprock. Get out of here, Schleprock. You're out of here. He said, we train new brokers. We don't want to hire old ones. That is the situation that's going to take place with value acceptance. These six mega firms out there are going to be hiring new appraisers. Appraisers will be behind the desk going forward. They will be valuation analysts. They will be making $20 an hour, and they can be fired at will. You see, they need to train the new appraisers. They don't want your signature anymore. And what's going to end up happening is in order to get a job with one of these six big appraisal firms, you're going to have to carry an SRA designation. You see, Craig Steinle, who's the new president of the Appraisal Institute, he's already got this figured out. Because, see, Craig is the president right now. He's probably going to end up being the CEO of the Appraisal Institute next year. But he has to find a way to bring new SRAs into the business. And what he's probably going to do is he's probably going to make a deal with these six firms that if you want to get a job as an appraiser in the future, you go to work for the big six, and then you carry the SRA designation, because the Appraisal Institute has got it in their mind that they're going to go out and rebrand the Appraisal Institute in 2025. So that's what's probably going to end up happening. If you go to work for one of the big commercial appraisal firms, most likely they're going to require an MAI designation. All right. They are losing money on the SRA designation. They have to find a way to get more SRAs involved. That's where they're going to make their play. They're going to make their play with the big six, Kevin.
My question is, if you don't work for these six firms
right,
that you're going to be going through, what about the independents?
Yes,
who don't want to do it.
The independents will have to find their own way. They'll have to find their own way in the marketplace, which there are. There's going to be, you have to play the long game on that. And there's going to be products out there that are going to be needed by the independent appraisal. Remember, there were five major accounting firms, right?
Right.
Prior to the crash. Does that mean that all the accountants went out of business? No, there's still accountants in business. It's just that the big five accounting firms that work for the big hedge funds and the big corporations, you're not going to get that contract. And that's sort of the same thing. You're not going to get the Fannie Mae contract unless you work for the big six, you see. And remember, when it comes to those contracts, I don't have a problem, Kevin. I mean, I have no problem whatsoever with a corporation or a company out there saying, look, I'm going to try to get the deal where I can go to work and be one of Fannie Mae's top six. I mean, if you get that deal, if you negotiate that deal, that's a damn good deal, Kevin.
You make that deal?
Make that deal,
Kevin. I don't
Kevin.
blame you. Damn good deal.
Damn good deal. You're making that deal?
Damn good deal.
That's a damn good deal. I mean, you are six companies that just got the golden ticket.
Damn good deal.
You are going to be making the money.
Damn good deal.
Everybody's got to come work for you now.
Damn good deal.
And you're going to have to get an SRA designation.
Damn good deal.
You're going to have to spend the night with Craig Steinle before you go to work.
Damn good deal.
And that's what is going to happen. That's a damn good deal for him, you know?
Damn good deal.
Damn good deal. But the issue that I run into, and this is the big issue right here, and this is what kind of pisses me off. And I'm not even upset with the Appraisal Institute. I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, if you want to have more people designated, why not go ahead and have them designated with these big companies? What makes me mad, look at the National Association of Appraisers. Okay, if you've got an MNAA behind your name, you have funded your destruction. Now, that's going to piss off a lot of people. But if you look at the past president of the National Association of Appraisers, where does he work? If you look at the current vice president of the National Association of Appraisers, who does he teach? If you look at the current president of the National Association of Appraisers, what company does he own that will benefit him when these new 5,000 appraisers come into play? The National Association of Appraisers has not helped you out. It's as simple and easy as that. Most of the people that benefit, most of the people that get this damn good deal, they are in the leadership of the National Association of Appraisers.
Damn good deal.
They are the leadership of that organization.
Damn good deal.
It's a damn good deal for them, but is it a damn good deal for you?
Damn good deal.
I don't think so, Kevin. I don't think so. And they have been out there trying to get more and more appraisers to join them, more and more appraisers to pay their dues to the National Association of Appraisers. They even got some of these coalitions on board, and I'll tell you something, I think they got the good deal, and you got the shaft.
Damn good deal.
And that's what it is. I mean, I'm sorry, I gotta call it like I see it. I have to call it like I see it. You cannot serve two masters, okay? If you want to go ahead and work for a big corporation and you want to try to get them the best contract they can get, you owe that to the corporation's investors. You also owe that to the corporation's shareholders if they are publicly traded. I get it. I understand that. But don't go out there and start claiming that you're looking out for the best interest of appraisers when you made these deals and you left them out of it and you screwed them.
Damn good deal.
And that's not going to, I'm just going to call it like it is. I'm sorry. I'm just going to call it like it is. In the National Association of Appraisers, they now control, they control like all of the nationwide conferences now. Because remember, Joan Trice sold Valuation Expo. Did you know that?
No.
Joan Trice sold Valuation Expo to Brian Reynolds over at Appraiser eLearning. Okay. So now Appraiser eLearning and National Association, they have the Appraisal Summit, which is 2 conferences, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have the Valuation Expo, which is 2 conferences. I mean, you got 4 nationwide conferences in America for what? 5,000 appraisers? I mean, how many booths are you going to have? You're going to have 6 booths here? I mean, that's all it is, just a big 6. Is that a damn good deal?
Damn good deal.
I don't think so. I mean, good luck paying the venue on that, for crying out loud. Trust me, I know how much it costs to put a nationwide conference on. So you're probably asking yourself, now, okay, Phil, great. Now, you beat up the National Association of Appraisers. You beat up poor Hamp Thomas, God love him, okay, because he's out there going, we need a voice. We need a voice. Yeah, that's been us. That's been there, Hamp. Now, where do we go from here? It's very, very simple. What has happened in the last 3 years, okay? In the last 3 years, something big has happened in the buyer pool. Number one, you got buyer remorse. That is massively going on. Buyer remorse based on valuation. Buyer's remorse based on I can't afford the house. I can't afford the repairs. I don't like where I live. I don't like the location. I don't like my neighbors. I mean, there's been all of these articles out there about people having true buyer's remorse. So I think in the future, going forward, you're going to see more and more buyers really interested in their transactions, especially if you're going to have value acceptance. If there's not going to be an actual appraisal done on the property and property will be valued from the mothership, then they're going to say, look, I think I need to hire my own appraisal, very, very similar to the home inspection model. And that's exactly what we talked about at Appraiser Fest 2018. We've been talking about that for a long time, all right? Also, remember another thing. This is very important. This is where we have to get the attorneys involved and the lawyers involved, especially when it comes to contract law. In most of your sales contracts, there is an appraisal contingency. So the property has to appraise at or above the sales contract price, okay? So that is a very important contingency factor in some of these contracts. Well, if Fannie brings out their value acceptance, then is that sales contract fully executed? Was that sales contract fully executed? Was the appraisal performed? And that is where you're going to be able to step in as the appraiser and say, let me get in here, let me do this. Now, if you work in a voluntary state, or if you live in a voluntary state where you don't have to have an appraiser's license to be an appraiser, and Ohio is one of those, by the way. Ohio is a voluntary state. Kevin, you can be an appraiser tomorrow. You don't have to have a license. You just can't do federally related transactions. That's what it is, okay? So if you live in a voluntary state, that's going to be your best bet to bring new appraisers on that are not licensed, because then you can do the evaluation product. Because what's going to happen very, very soon is the world is going to recognize the amount of data cancer that is in the body economic. Data cancer that is in the body economic. Let's go ahead and pull this up here. Let's go ahead and pull it up. There we go. There we go. This is from the American Enterprise Institute's Housing Center. It is a report called The Prevalence of GSE Appraisal Waivers. And look how they stopped monitoring them in October of 2022. Do you see that, Kevin?
Gee, I wonder why.
Well, yeah, exactly. I wonder why. So let's go ahead and look at this really quick here. So you can see the progression of the appraisal waivers that were used by Fannie and Freddie starting back in 2016. Now, in the 2016 shows, we talked a lot about appraisal waivers. We called them appraisal waivers, right?
Right.
They called them pissing in the wind. Property inspection waivers. They found that to be misleading, so they went to appraisal waivers. But as you can see here, in the 16 and 17, leading up to Appraiser Fest in the 18 shows, they were using appraisal waivers. And it was basically about fewer than 10% of the time. They were also using appraisal waivers on purchase transactions. That's where the trouble came in. Okay, this wasn't a waiver where it was like you had a loan and it was like 50% LTV, or you were doing some small equity line. No, they were waiving appraisals on purchase transactions. Then take a look at 2019. In 2019, they started getting a little bit more aggressive with their appraisal waivers. And then, as you can see there, check it out right there. So you see April 2020 in that chart right there?
Right.
March 5th, 2020, that is your data point 0. That's when we all went into lockdown. Look at what happened. Look at what happened right there. That's when they started smoking 5 packs of cigarettes a day, Kevin. That's when they started downing fifths and fifths of vodka every single day. That's when they started breathing in the asbestos. That's when they started eating a shitload of red meat. That's when they started drinking all of the water from the East Palestine rivers, Kevin. That's when it all happened right there. And that's when the data cancer started. They drove and they drove and they drove appraisal waivers into the body economic. They used them on purchase transactions and they heated up. They super heated up the market in a big way. And now we're coming down from that, Kevin. Now, because of all of that activity, because of all of that cocaine, and because of all of that fun appraisal waiver bullshit, now all that stuff is impacting the market as a whole and has created this data cancer. A data cancer inside of our housing market today that is metastasizing through other industries. And that is where you're going to come into play. That is going to be your next. And you're going to talk to a property buyer and you're going to present them with a 100-page full narrative residential report. Have you ever written one of those? Have you ever written a 100-page full narrative report, full demographic, full economic, full forecast? Have you ever sat down and done one of those? That is a skill set that you're going to have to learn how to do. That is your path moving forward. Your path moving forward is to be the third-party, unbiased individual, and because of that, your byproduct inside of your little petri dish will be consumer protection. Consumer protection will come from your third-party, unbiased position. That's where you're going to be able to say, hey, listen, this is how I'm going to market myself into the future. And one other thing you got to look at here, guys, and I want you to really pay attention to this. Now, it was supposed to take place last month, and it didn't because the National Association of Realtors is a very, very, very powerful organization. But I want you guys can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn these days. If you go to LinkedIn, I do have a link there, and I post about the Sitzer-Burnett versus the National Association of Realtors. Sitzer-Burnett versus the National Association of Realtors. It's an antitrust lawsuit. It's a class action antitrust lawsuit that was supposed to start hearings last month. They held it off, and they're going to make a decision on what they're going to do in December, okay? If this thing goes through and the National Association of Realtors loses this, the National Association of Realtors goes from 1.5 million members to 200,000.
Oh.
Okay? It goes from 1.5 to 200,000 overnight. And the reason why is because it does away with the buyer's representation. So as appraisers, we are going to be able to jump in there to be with the buyer. Not that the buyer's rep's going to maybe be gone. The buyer's agent's going to be gone. So we may be able to jump in there and provide consumer protection and consumer advocacy to take the place of the buyer's agent with our new set of products. That's what the future is going to be. So those are big passes I want you to see ahead of you, because what's going on over at Fannie Mae, this is coming straight out of Washington, D.C. This has been in progress now since 2014 and 2015. I remember it very well. We have warned time and time and time again about it. You're not going to stop it. And I really, if I were you as an appraiser, I really wouldn't try to stop it. Let Fannie own this. Let them own it. If this is the path they want to go, which is fine, they want to go down this path. If they want to have value acceptance, then let them own it. You don't want to be in a house that is collapsing. You want to be outside of it. Get out of that house and let them see if they can hold this thing up with this value acceptance.
Hey, Phil, I have a question for you.
Yes.
What I'm wondering now is the contracts in that they're currently signing.
Yeah.
Well, if they're doing these waivers or whatever, isn't that null?
Well,
isn't that going to null and void the contract?
That is a phenomenal question, because were the contracts that were signed after data point 0, right? All those contracts that took place and the waiver was done, were those contracts fully executed? If somebody's got buyer's remorse right now and they feel like they've overpaid, was an appraisal actually done when they bought it? Or was that contingency not satisfied, but yet no one went back in and wrote down, oh, by the way, we've had an appraisal waiver? I don't know, Kevin.
Right. Lawyer friends, look into that.
Lawyer friends should look into all of this. One other thing I want to bring up, especially with the Silicon Valley Bank scenario. Silicon Valley Bank, they've funded and backed up and backstopped a lot of VC money, a lot of tech money. So I don't know how much of that VC money and tech money is in these new companies that are out there today that's part of the value acceptance movement. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to find that out. We'll have to see what's going on, but I'm not really sure. So,
hey, Phil?
Yes.
Don't forget about the antitrust issues about not working for Fannie.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that, Kevin. Listen, for those of you out there that get emotional about this, all right, and you're out there and you're emotional and you're like, you know what? We need to band together and not work for Fannie Mae. No one works for Fannie. No one signs a report for Fannie. The hell with Big Fannie. Okay, if you do that, you could be accused of a boycott, of an illegal boycott. All right? There's antitrust rules. There's antitrust regulations. And every time there's a squeeze, so you got to watch the antitrust squeeze. It's when your work goes away and you get together with your competitors and you're like, you know what? We're not going to do this anymore. Everybody needs to work for this much money. That's it. Everybody needs to work for this much money. Boom. You're in trouble. Yeah, it's an antitrust violation. Or, everybody, we're going to get together and we're going to boycott and we're not going to do any work for these group of people because we want things done the right way. Boom, you're in trouble. So that is something that you need to take very seriously. The appraisal profession has been destroyed in the public eye for the last 2 years. You don't need to have some antitrust issues coming up as well. Don't go down that path. Just understand that this is the way things are right now. There is banking karma. Value acceptance could come back to hurt a lot of people. We'll just see how it goes. But don't worry. Kevin and I will still be here because we've been here for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years. We appreciate all of your support because this podcast has been
damn good deal.
Has been a damn good deal for real estate appraisers throughout the country. So there we go, Kevin. And as the Baptists would say, if I preached here today, give me an amen and a thumbs up. If I preached here today, give me an amen and a thumbs up.
Damn good deal.
That's right. Give me a thumbs up on the YouTube channel so that way we can increase our algorithm and our output. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our show for this week, and as always, I would like to thank you for listening. As we journey through the mysteries and complexities that are, in fact, the real estate appraisal business, I would like to thank my producer, Kevin Kinney, for being here, for his thoughtful insight and knowledge. God willing, we're going to be back here very soon, continuing to report from the front lines of the real estate market. In the meantime, you kiss your spouse, you hug your children, enjoy your day, be safe in the field. You've been listening to Phil Crawford on the Voice of Appraisal podcast. We'll talk very soon.
Damn good deal.
Damn good deal, Kevin. Damn good deal.